This episode is brought to you by Iams Pet Food. When you choose Iams dry dog or cat food, you can see a difference in your pet with your own eyes. Healthy energy in 5 days, healthy digestion in 10 days, and healthy skin and coat in just 25 days. Satisfaction for you and them. Guaranteed or your money back. Feed Iams dry dog or cat food and see a visible difference. Visit iams.com/difference to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Global X. Since 2008, Global X ETFs has been committed to empowering investors with unexplored, intelligent solutions. Global X specializes in exchange-traded funds that offer exposure to the artificial intelligence ecosystem, including themes like data centers, robotics, semiconductors, and cloud computing. To learn more about Global X's entire suite of ETFs, from covered calls, fixed income, emerging markets, and more, visit globalxetfs.com.
This is Optimal Work Daily. How to Overcome the Fear of Starting Your Own Business by Chalene Johnson of ChaleneJohnson.com. What's surprising is a lot of people have this inner drive and desire to do something bigger with their life, yet they never do it. I bet if you and I sat down and talked, you would have a deep passion for something. And if I asked you, why haven't you moved forward and turned that passion into a business, you'd probably respond with, well, because I can't, or I don't know how, or I'm not smart enough, blah, blah, blah. First, I want to say anything someone else has done, you can do too. Typically, the doubt and the fear stems from the overwhelming feeling of potential failure. You might not directly relate it to that, but most likely, if you've talked yourself out of something, that's probably why. So today, I want to dive into what I call perfection paralysis. Perfection paralysis is the idea that because you want something to be perfect, if there's the potential that it's not going to be, you don't even try. I'm sure you've been there before, whether it's wanting to submit a proposal at work or create a business for yourself. There are times when we are so fearful that the thing we want to do will get criticized or won't be perfect, so we don't even attempt to do it. This can apply to things like writing a book, launching a podcast, or starting your own business. If you want to do something great, but something else is holding you back, chances are part of that is perfection paralysis. So what do you do? A big part of perfection paralysis is the fear of judgment. I know you don't want to be told something you did isn't good enough. You don't want to get a bad review or hear a bad comment about something you're proud of. Because you don't want to be judged, you may not even attempt that goal. Fear of judgment, being told we aren't good enough, usually stems from childhood. If you had a parent tell you that you weren't good enough or you could have done that better, that criticism stayed with you all the way to adulthood. When you were told those things, you were robbed of your courage, and courage is what gets us through fear and failure. Now that we know where fear of judgment comes from, we can recognize that how we were treated in the past doesn't have to be how we see ourselves now and in the future. Hearing those comments repeated in your head from your past has to stop now. The first step to overcoming the paralysis is to mute those voices. They are the echoing of your past, and they are no longer, nor were they ever, true. Don't allow the judgment of someone years ago to affect how your life progresses now. You are capable of doing anything you set your mind to. First steps. Some of my first steps toward overcoming thoughts of perfection and judgment were that I had to mute that voice from the past and create a new goal for myself. Every time I'd think of doing something new, I'd hear, "do better," in my head. It was something that deterred me from even thinking that my thought was valuable. Now I have to remind myself that that little voice isn't coming from me at all. It's coming from my past. I have to put it on mute and remember that I don't deserve to think that way, and that it's okay to have new thoughts in unknown territory. Along with that, I had to set a new goal for myself that wasn't about perfection. I no longer have to be perfect, and that's great. My new goal is to just get myself out there and try it. I can always fix it later, meaning I just need to try something, whether it's putting my thoughts and ideas on paper or signing up for that new class. Once I get started, I can make adjustments, but I can't fix anything if I haven't made an attempt. From paralegal to public speaker. Around 1999, I had been working part-time as a personal trainer, which allowed me to phase out of my paralegal job and focus on fitness and being a stay-at-home mom. I'd been a stay-at-home mom for about a year and thought that other mothers would want to hear and learn from my story. I thought the best way to do this was through a seminar in a hotel conference room with flyers, the whole deal. I was going to get contact information from a parenting magazine subscription list and spend a lot of money to get this venture on its feet. In the end, I put in a ton of effort, I spent a ton of money, and had my first seminar. A total of 6 people came, 4 of which were former coworkers from my paralegal job. I wanted to share this with you because it was how I learned that the first attempt is not a failure. It's just a starting point. I would have never known that my system for running this seminar wouldn't work until I tried it. After that first one, I got much better at giving the second and third because I learned from my first attempt. You have to suck at something in order to be able to fix it. And you can't do that if you're afraid to try or are afraid of what people might say. So put yourself out there and see what happens. Worst case is you'll suck, but the second attempt will be infinitely better because the first is out of the way. Takeaway. The takeaway here is that I don't want your fears to hold you back from moving forward with something that could change the course of your life. Figure out what's causing you to be stuck. Overcome that, whether it's with therapy or willpower, but move forward. You deserve to live a life fueled with passion. You just listened to the post titled How to Overcome the Fear of Starting Your Own Business by Chalene Johnson of ChaleneJohnson.com. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. We're all marveled at how quickly kids learn and that sense of wonderment they have while doing it. But as adults, sometimes we lose that curiosity. Well, if there's something you've been wanting to learn, know that therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder, because your back-to-school era can come at any age. And make no mistake, therapy is for everyone. Whether or not you've been through significant trauma, therapy can be a great tool for setting boundaries, learning new skills, and ultimately becoming the best version of yourself. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/workdaily today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/workdaily. When it comes to hiring, don't go searching for the one. Just meet your match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging. 93% of employers agree. Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. One of the things I love about Indeed is that it filters out incompatible applicants. So when you're hiring, the process is much faster and you only have to consider applicants that are already likely to be a great fit. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/startup. So just go to Indeed.com/startup right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/startup. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. And I want to give a big thanks to Chalene. She is a world-renowned motivational speaker with more than 30 years as a health expert. On top of that, she's a New York Times bestselling author, health and lifestyle expert, and top health podcaster with over 20 million downloads of her show, The Chalene Show. She and her husband have trained tens of thousands of fitness professionals and consulted with the world's largest health club chains. They work together, but she's the face of the company. She's sold millions of fitness videos and holds the world record from the Guinness Book of World Records for having starred in the most fitness videos. And on the business side of things, she's created a variety of personal and business development programs that are worth checking out. So come by ChaleneJohnson.com to check all of that out. You can find it all linked in this episode's description. And that should do it for today. I thank you so much for being here and for listening all the way through. And I'll be back with you tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.